Welcome to Courageous Creative Conquerors. I'm your host, Jean Voice Dart, Expressive Arts Psychotherapist, credentialed teacher, and coach. It's my belief that we are all courageously creative and destined to navigate our way through life, learning how to feel, reveal, and heal. And we do this safely and effectively through the expressive arts. Hi everyone, Jean Voice Dart here with Courageous Creative Conquerors, and I have my special guest, Jenn Seniuk. She's an art therapist, and I'm just delighted to have you here, Jenn. How are you today?
I'm so excited to be here. It's always so good to be talking about the creative arts in general.
Well, let's start off with the question about this sign behind me over here, Courageous Creative Conquerors. What does that mean to you, Jenn? And throughout your life, throughout childhood and adulthood, how did you manage life challenges through creativity or the creative arts?
I always was just naturally drawn to art making. Like my grandma was very creative, my mom was very creative. I spent a lot of time at my grandma's house growing up, and that was like something that we would always do. We'd go to the craft store together and pick out like a ceramic and go home and paint it, or we would have like baking days and bake like these gingerbread people or like the big cinnamon buns. But even like reflecting back on my childhood too, I noticed anytime I was really overwhelmed, I would go to my room and I would draw. It was just so intuitive. Like there was something about drawing, having my sketchbook, or even like the way I was dreaming about my life. I was always drawing things and creating it kind of in this container of my sketchbook.
Me too. That was just so important.
Yeah.
I think I love that you had that in your family. That's the
Yeah.
same for me with my grandmother doing all these crafty things, and she actually was blue glass and
Oh.
painted on china and made our doll clothes and all these things. And it just, I think, living in a creative environment helps us so much. I mean, your experience as an art therapist, what do you know about art in childhood and how that helps us in adulthood as we grow and have more challenges?
I think, well, I primarily work with adults now, and I just noticed that there's this huge cutoff because society is like, well, if your art isn't good enough to be in a gallery, you can't make art. It's
Yeah.
like this full stop that happens. So I think when kids are really deeply encouraged to be creative and free and expressive, it kind of gets rid of that barrier that I can't do it because I'm not good enough. It kind of gives like little us this permission to keep going and keep using creative expression.
Yeah.
And it really gives kind of little us this voice to continue using or this avenue to keep expressing things through. It's like an option still, still to like express ourselves and to like really take care of ourselves in adulthood. We don't lose that.
That's so important. I think you're right. We get told maybe when we're younger, that doesn't look like a tree or that doesn't look right or something, then we just quit. But yeah, just knowing that the goal of expressive arts is just to release and the journey of expressing through the arts, whatever it is, what if it's dance or music or drawing, painting, whatever it is, just to enjoy the journey.
Definitely.
Yeah. Do you want to tell me about Dave and who that is and how that was a pivotal point in your life and how you got involved with Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so wild. Even like now reflecting back on it, I'm like, I can't believe all of this happened.
Mhm.
I was actually, so I've been working on building my own private practice for about 4 years here in Calgary, Alberta. And there's just some resistance around it. I don't know if it's like the province, it's not quite as open to expressive arts. It's just been like a huge uphill battle to get clients to come in. And so there's like a lot of education that happens first and then clients come in. So I was just feeling really stuck and I didn't have enough clients. So I started working for an outreach program and we set up warming stations because it gets really cold up here in the winter. And our first day was minus 41 Celsius. And we
Oh,
set up this tent. We had a heater, we had soup, sandwiches, coffee. And I met Dave. He is an unhoused man that was living outside. And he just came by for some soup. He heard about us, and there was something about him that just really intrigued me, and it really challenged, I think, biases I didn't realize I had of unhoused folks. Like he was so fascinating. Like he came from money, he was well educated, he played like university ball and hockey. He's like traveled the world. Like we could talk about culture and art. And then we got talking and he's like, "Well, I want to tell my story." And so I was like, "Well, let's do it." And we met up to start writing a book about his life. And he brought his friends, like three of his friends. And he was like, "Well, they want to tell their story too." And
Wow. Yeah.
it's so serendipitous how it happened. And we now, this is our second year running, and we had 37 folks come out on a Monday and come connect, make some art, grab a sandwich, grab some soup, grab a coffee, and just connect. And last year we had a documentary. So some of the university students came out and supported the guys in sharing their story through digital storytelling. So we had this big documentary and it was shown on a rooftop, this really cool rooftop venue in Calgary. And so the guys got to come out and see themselves on this big screen. And then we had a big art show, and it's just the first of many. And so it's so incredible to see these guys really stepping into their truth and their authenticity and really owning their story and changing the way that it's viewed by putting it in the art and saying, "This is me." And then having the public, which is like, it was so interesting to have like the public and then our guys all in the same space and witness everyone's judgments and opinions and biases. Like you could really see them shifting of like, "Oh, I might have judged this person, but like this is their art, this is their story. How does it make me understand them on a deeper level, on a human level?"
That's so powerful. And when you
Yeah.
told me that, I was it last year? I can't remember when we first connected,
Yeah.
but when you first told me about that and I read online what you're doing, it just resonated with me very deeply.
Yeah.
I lived in a homeless shelter. And I know we don't like to say homeless, but that's what it was called. You say unhoused. That's what you,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that makes so much more sense because it's not like we are without a home. We have a home, we're just unhoused. But yeah, I lived in one, a shelter, for several months alone with my newborn baby. And just remembering that of not having a house and the generosity and the community feeling that helped us get back on our feet. Um, and what you're doing with what you said about people are seeing their art and their judgments kind of just melt away. They hear the story of who they are and they see it in the art. And that's so true about art. When we look at each other's art, there's this connection soul to soul, and who we are outside, or it doesn't matter. None of that matters anymore. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was so powerful because Dave passed away in May. So just before the documentary aired, just before the art show. And he actually had built a sculpture. And it was this big bird. It was massive. Like it's probably my size. And I'm 6 feet tall. So it's a big bird. Right now it lives in my living room.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, yeah. And it was it was front and center in the art show. And we built these walls in this park. We built them the night before. The guys really helped me with it. And then we had Dave's bird in the middle. And you could see just people like gravitating towards this bird. And little kids were so fascinated with this bird. They were trying to feed it. They were making art inspired by it in front of it, like gathering their own sticks and bark and making their own little sculptures. It was so powerful just to see how art can be influenced like that. And then the power and the energy that Dave's art took up in that space was, I can't describe it. Like it's such a, you had to be there moment.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where are you now with that journey, and how did that shift your life in terms of how you serve as an art therapist?
Yeah, we took 2 months off just to kind of regroup and figure out, okay, what are the next steps? We moved to a different park in the city, so that's kind of our plan. We're gonna do 1 full year in a park and then move to another park so that we can meet new folks, welcome in new friends, and write more books. We're still working on the first book and, finding people because a lot of these folks don't have phones. So it's like, okay, if I see you on a Monday, I'm going to snag you and we're going to work on your chapter in the book. But it has grown so much. So we're hoping to have like another documentary, another art show. I'm renovating a school bus and I've decided to turn it into a mobile gallery. So I'm trying to
Oh my
figure out
gosh.
the like logistics of that and what that's gonna look like.
That is so exciting, Jen. I didn't know
Yeah.
about the mobile gallery.
It was a nightmare putting up the walls in the park.
Yeah.
So there's someone in Toronto that has a mobile gallery, but it's out of kind of like a moving trailer. And I was like, well, I'm already renovating a bus. Why don't I just turn that into a gallery and then we never have to build walls again and it can travel with us?
So when you're doing this mobile gallery, do the artists just donate their art? It's gone. They don't see it again.
But it'll be just for the art show. So we only did a 1 day pop-up art show. And then the artists, they have the opportunity to sell their art and then they get to keep their art. And then we actually were really fortunate enough to be approached by a very popular brewery here in Calgary that hosts a lot of artists. And so a friend of ours professionally photographed everyone's art that was in the show. And now prints are hanging up at the brewery for 3 months. And the guys have opportunities to make money off those prints as well.
Exciting. I love
Yeah.
it. It's just amazing. So if people want to find out more about this and possibly help and donate to your project, is that a possibility?
Yeah, we are always looking for folks to help. And it could even just be as simple as like sharing our information on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We love donations. We also have our Amazon wish list. You can rent our documentary, and all of those proceeds go back into our project. One of our volunteers, her and her mom, wrote a children's book based on one of the guy's stories. So any of those books sold support our outreach project and employ the storyteller. His name's Timothy. It actually pays him to do outreach with us as well. So there's lots of different ways to support us.
And what is the website? Where can they find you and donate?
www.myfrienddave.ca.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the art therapy aspect. And so you're growing up, you love all the arts, and then we jumped to now with meeting Dave and what you're doing right now. But in the middle, how did you switch from just art being something that you did to art therapy, and what sparked that in you, realizing that it's more than just art, it's art therapy, and you really wanted to go full on with that?
So I saw a summer course that was called art therapy. I was like, oh, it has art in it. That's got to be really easy. I like art. I'm good at art. And I took it, and the first day I was like, oh my God, I had no idea that this was even a profession. And it made everything in my life click. It made everything make sense because I loved the teaching aspect, but I loved the understanding. And in our education program at our university, they gave you 1 semester course where you could try out being a teacher, like full on. I taught grade 6 to see if it was the avenue I wanted to go in. I loved it, but it was the kids that needed the most support that I felt really drawn to. I wanted to understand why were they falling through the cracks. And I was like, okay, well, art therapy kind of gets to be this. I get to understand people. There is some teaching, like psycho ed involved, but there's also like this social justice. There's giving people their voices back. And I drew like a stick figure in one of the directives and I just started crying. I was like, I had no idea. Like, this made so much sense that this was this powerful and that there was a career path in this. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to the States. I'm graduating. I'm going to go and do my master's in Pennsylvania.
I'm a lot older than you, but when I started, it was like unheard of. There just wasn't much around, and I was just so grateful that I lived in an area which they had the programs, so I could
Ah,
license and certification. But yeah, it's so much better now, and it's something that is widely accepted, and so much research validating the power and the effectiveness of the expressive arts, whatever you choose, in the arts category, that it's safe and effective.
yeah.
And so I'm just so happy to have met you. It's even not always easy to find an art therapist, in your neighborhood or something.
Yeah.
Found you. Okay. But it is much more widely accepted and applauded for its effectiveness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's growing. It's growing. And I cannot wait until it becomes even more widely accepted.
How
Hmm.
did you need to be courageously creative?
So I've had to be very courageous in trusting the process and also just coming back to my own artwork and not forgetting that and not abandoning that, especially when times are really stressful and difficult. And also, I firmly believe that if I'm asking someone, whether it's like my individual clients or the guys I'm working with, if I'm asking them to do something, I better be doing it as well. And so that was like a big thing. You had to put your art in the art show as a team member to put yourself out there to model what that means. And so I feel very courageous in the way that I practice and model art therapy, not only in my personal life, but for others too. I'm very much about leading by example.
I love what you said, that if I'm asking them to do it, I better do it too. And
Yeah.
do you have a tip for people out there?
Yeah, get outside. That's like the first part of it is get outside. Doesn't matter what the temperature is, doesn't matter if it's like a 5 minute walk around a block. Go outside and collect a few objects, whether it's like a blade of grass or like a little flower or a leaf or something that you see kind of blowing down the street, and create some sort of little offering in the grass with those items, and then leave with those items, whatever you're holding on to, and walk away. So it could be like a little mandala that you create. It could be maybe you have like a little river or something down by you, or there's like some sort of trash can, whatever metaphorically feels appropriate for those little items. You get to project onto them what you're holding on to or what you don't want to hold on to anymore. You can create a little offering, leave it somewhere, trash it, put it in the river. So it's this mini little ceremony almost of releasing. And it's just getting outside and connecting, but also focusing on something that's outside of you.
I love that. That's just so special.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And thank you, all of you, for watching us. And we look forward to next time. Thank you, Jenn, for your time today. And this has been Courageous Creative Conquerors. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.